Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
Bernigan, 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 ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we are enjoying... What are we enjoying? What month are we in?
It's Hanukkah time.
It's Hanukkah time, yes. Well, actually, now it's not Hanukkah time anymore. It's the time that this is going up.
That's true.
What time are we in now?
Festivus, that's what it was.
Festivus, that's what it was. So we're talking this week about Festivus. Oh yeah. Wait, no, that's not right. Oh, Christmas time. Christmas time. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now that all the snow has fallen, it's crunching below my feet, and all the Christmas lights are shining on houses up and down my street, and I can see the happy families inside, if only for a moment. It's Christmas time.
Now, this is credited to Jim. I mean, this is credited to Kevin. But so it's on the Christmas album, The Bare Naked for the Holidays, 2005. However, I have internet here that says, in a record label here that says it was actually on an earlier record. It was on the Nepotism Record Presents.
What?
And it's pop. Hold on. My thing is talking in the background here now.
Chaos.
It was on... My computer is just going randomly. So, for people listening today, I have no notes. My computer decided to randomly shut down and delete all my notes for this week. So, I'm going to be going off memory as much as I can this week. So, it was originally released with a Stephen lead.
Mr. Johnson bought a Christmas tree. He set it up with his family. You're opening the presents big and small. Mr. Johnson got a big brown bowling ball.
Now this is a really weird name for a record, so follow me here. Nepotism Records presents A Canadian Family Christmas from 1994. There are a lot of really interesting songs on this. So, for example, Crooning on Christmas Eve and Hey Ho Christmas. And it's just a lot of different ones on here. It's Christmastime in Australia by Clive Smith. And one of the ones on here is It's Christmastime, Oh Yeah, but it's credited to Kevin Hearn, but it can't be Kevin Hearn because 1994, Kevin Hearn was not with Bare Naked Ladies.
Interesting.
And it's Stephen singing it. It is definitively Stephen singing it with Ed doing the background harmonies with Jim and Tyler. Maybe with Andy as well at this point.
That's odd because it sounds like a very Kevin song.
Totally sounds like a Kevin song.
It does, and so I'm not quite sure how it's not a Kevin. Maybe Kevin wrote it, gave it to B&L, and because it's not like they didn't know each other back then. So maybe it is a Kevin song that B&L decided to do for this album. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's also on another album that I encourage people to go out there and buy. Which is More Hope for the Holidays, which it's a non-profit for diabetes organization for kids. I think it must be mostly written and collected by the Beach Boys, especially Mike Love, because a lot of the songs on here are from Mike Love. But there's also Run Run Rudolph by Creedence Clearwater Revisited, so without the Creedence Clearwater without John. And then there's Weezer's version of O Come All Ye Faithful, which you can also get on YouTube and is really amazing to listen to. I listened to it last night and it's wonderful. But you got like Mike Love of the Beach Boys singing Santa's Going to Kokomo. You've got David Coverdale of Whitesnake singing "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Nice.
So
I'm actually pretty curious about hearing this album now.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting album. So if you get a chance to go out and find it, good luck. It is available on Amazon, that one. The other one, the Nepotism Record album, must have been a very rare release because I can't get it anywhere, including eBay. That is a lot of the background on this song. So let's jump on over to Aaron to talk about the music.
All right, let's break it down.
Yes. I don't have a breakdown. I was going to do Aaron's hot take, but this isn't quite Aaron's hot take. It's the breakdown. Yeah. So I got to come up with a new little.
Is like more about like maybe the interpretation of the lyrics or like.
Yes, absolutely.
We should keep. Look, things have names for a reason.
Yes.
All right, let's break it down. So Christmastime. Oh yeah. This I don't know if that was the Kool-Aid guy or the Show Me What You Got head, but that was something like that. Or maybe Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh yeah. Now that would be an interesting cover. Christmastime, oh yeah, is written and is performed, I should say, approximately 125 beats per minute. The alternate version we listened to, the Steven version, was just a hair faster, perhaps about 127 beats per minute, which not much difference, but if you look at the overall lengths of the recordings, that one is a slightly shorter, which would probably follow. Either way, both versions fall comfortably under the Allegro tempo marking. It's written in the key of C major, but interestingly, you will hear B flat in this tune. So we get that dominant seventh fill. What's happening is the B flat is a modally borrowed subdominant chord from C minor. This is a very jazz-influenced move. However, it's definitely a borrowed tone, and the song stays rooted firmly in C major because we end on that lovely C dominant seventh chord, as well as during the pre-chorus chord changes, there's a lovely descending bass line from A to G flat to G while shifting from 4 to 1. This is a passing tone, which effectively borrows from a minor 4 from C minor again. So we move from F major to F minor to C third inversion. It's keeping all the harmonies nice and tight, and you get that descending bass line throughout, and it's very pleasing to my ear. So I like this tune a lot, as you can probably tell. So the form of the song, we have the intro, the verse, we'll call that A. The pre-chorus, we'll call B, and the chorus is C. Now the chorus kind of extends the pre-chorus changes and then moves into the oh yeah. You could argue the pre-chorus and chorus are the same section. I'm going to separate them because of how the song flows, but leave a mean comment on our Facebook page if you disagree. Verse
Don't
2,
you dare
right?
leave a mean comment.
Talk about
That's for you, Jorker.
Our sophomoric sense of humor. We're never going to let that go. Anyways, we got verse 2, back to the A changes, pre-chorus B, and chorus C again. And it just ends there on that beautiful C7. So we have an ABC kind of structure. There really isn't a bridge, unless you count the pre-chorus as a sort of bridge. But it doesn't really need one. It's short and it's sweet, it's self-contained, and it's beautiful to listen to. I know that I previously said I don't like Christmas songs, but I'll be damned if I didn't really enjoy this song a lot. I think I liked it. I think I liked it because it was an original tune. It's not just a standard. Not that I don't like Christmas carols. As I said, I love the Carol of the Bells. There are some Christmas standards I really like. Silent Night's really nice too. But I think maybe they're just kind of, I don't know, they're overplayed. Like I feel like as soon as Halloween's over, we don't even get to enjoy Thanksgiving, and we're just inundated with all these Christmas songs. So to hear a Christmas song I hadn't heard before, and one that was really well arranged and had some nice harmonies, that was a real treat for me. This does have
beautiful harmonies.
Really, really beautiful close harmonies, which I like a lot. And it has a little bit of that Norman Rockwell schmaltz, or maybe even a lot of it. But I don't know. I may be a bit of a bastard, but even I can be sentimental. You know, I love Spielberg films. I think it's earnest, and I think that's what saves it. You know what I mean? If it was a little more cheesy in its presentation or seemed insincere, I think I would hate it. But I love it, and I think it's telling that this is a song that I, a relative newcomer to BNL, unlike you two, I immediately thought, oh, Kevin must have written this, which is funny because, as we said, maybe he didn't. But it sounds like a Kevin song to me from what I have learned of Kevin.
Totally.
And it's really great work. The piano reminds me a lot of Vince Guaraldi, and I mean that as a very high compliment. If you think about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson got a Christmas tree. He set it up with his family.
Guaraldi did all the piano music for Peanuts, so Charlie Brown's Christmas and all that.
One of my notes is Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah,
I wrote that down.
I'm hearing a lot of Guaraldi in this, and I love Vince Guaraldi. He's fantastic, and
especially
Kevin
that second
point.
verse. Like, there's a spot in that second verse that sounds so much like Charlie Brown Christmas. The sadder parts of Charlie Brown Christmas.
Which I love. I mean, Guaraldi was fantastic work on the Peanuts stuff. So it's very appropriate, I think, that it kind of summons up that kind of feel and it evokes that kind of Charlie Brown's Christmas feel. I love this tune a lot. The jazzy feel, the harmonies, the expressive piano work, it all comes together. And I'll be putting this on my playlist for Christmas morning when we're opening presents.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Michelle?
I totally agree with everything you said, Aaron, but I do have 5 words for this song with Kevin singing. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Ooh,
totally evoked Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas for me.
I agree 100%.
Especially the first verse. And I also had a comment, and I thought of you, Aaron, his phrasing on Christmas-time, like it was a weird...
that was a really weird, like, faltering in the voice there.
The phrasing of it, like, why are you breathing there? That's not how you breathe in a song.
It's...
That's like phrasing 101, you know what I mean? But slightly... that's part of the charm.
Yeah, I would agree. I think,
but it just
I really dug this one. I couldn't agree more when it comes to Emmett Otter's. After my initial people ask me my favorite Christmas movie, I'm always like, well, Die Hard or Gremlins or something like that. But honestly, if I'm talking about more traditional Christmas movies that people tend to think of, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is way up there. If not my favorite, it's certainly in my top 5. It's a fantastic. If you guys haven't seen that, by the way. Depending on when you guys hear this, you listening out there, I'm not sure if it's when it's going to be
Christmas
published.
Day.
Okay, so it might still be in theaters. Merry Christmas, by the way, to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And I had heard a rumor.
I should have started with that.
I mean, what are you talking about? We're talking about this right now live, right? A little behind-the-scenes inside baseball for you. No, I had heard that Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas was going to be playing in some theaters this year. So if I can get out and see that, I certainly would love to see it in theaters. Love Jim Henson.
Oh, my gosh, that would be
Beautiful
awesome.
Music.
My favorite is Christmas Eve on Sesame Street.
Oh,
if you haven't seen that.
I've never seen that.
Bert and Ernie have this whole thing. It's like you're going to be weeping. It's so good.
But are they 4 years old or 40?
I have always thought, it's funny, even as a kid, before I really knew what anything was, I always thought they were a couple. Or that Bert was Ernie's dad, but they were friends. It was sort of like this weird, all-encompassing relationship. Like, they're best friends, and or brothers, and or Bert is the dad, and or they are a couple. Like, all of those things. That just sort of, in my little kid brain, that all just sort of made sense.
You know what, Michelle, though?
Go ahead.
I couldn't care less.
All I know is Bert is evil.
What?
Have you seen that website? I don't know if it's still a website. Bertisevil.com. There was all these. One of the early days of the internet, there was this website where this guy photoshopped Bert into pictures like next to Hitler and Mussolini and stuff like that. It was hilarious.
OMG, I haven't seen
Now
that.
I gotta Google Bird is Evil and see if it's still a thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
As we're all
Birdisevil.tv.
To bring it back to the song,
Not
I
safe
do
for
want to.
work.
I do want to mention the "Oh yeah" in the chorus. Gorgeous, utterly
Especially
gorgeous.
at the end. I love the way that
And
sounds.
that's why I would listen to this song all year round. I don't care that it's a Christmas
Yeah,
song. It's so
beautiful.
nice to listen to. So
the,
nice.
The way they have that seventh chord arranged in the harmonies is so
It just-
gorgeous.
It's like butter.
It is. It's like butter.
Let's talk a little bit about the lyrics. I contend that this is not actually a Christmas song.
Okay, I'm listening.
So listening to this song like for the millionth time this week, both versions. By the way, I do have to say I do love the Kevin version. Okay, I do like, I should say, the Christmas okay, I'm gonna say it again.
Wow.
I do like it's Christmas morning. I'm really messed up.
Too much eggnog last night?
Too much eggnog last night. I do like the Christmas version. I do like the Kevin version. I cannot get this out today. But I like the Steve version better for some reason. I think it's just I like Steve's voice and I associate Steven with BNL. And so I'm always looking for his voice. And there's just something about him singing this song that I just enjoy. But here's the thing. Steven's Jewish. And I hear this sad song about Christmas. It's from a point of view about a person who is watching Christmas. Like, throughout this song, throughout the lyrics, we have a person that is watching Christmas from the sidelines.
I can see the happy families inside.
Right. He sees the happy families inside, but only for a moment, which means he's probably driving by. He's talking about all these people. He sees people down the street. He sees the children singing. He sees the carolers coming. He hears the carolers. He sees people opening presents. None of this is about him. A lot of it sounds very, very sad. The only part of the song that sounds happy is when the carolers kick in with
Oh, yeah.
the oh yeah part. And other than that, and the other part that is interesting about this is you have, and I asked some Canadian friends of ours that were on the podcast in the past, Monster Squad Minute guys, I said, I'm missing something here. Is this like cereal box thing in the morning, like a Canadian thing? Am I missing like this is like this kind of like tradition? They're like, no, we have no idea like what that piece is coming from.
The Jimmy got a box of Frosty Flakes.
Right, so you have the, like, Mr. Johnson's got a Christmas tree, he's putting it up with his family, he's got a big brown bowling ball for Christmas, Sally's got a brand new pair of skates, and Jimmy's got a box of Frosted Flakes. Like, and he's trying to take it in stride, and he's trying to be happy about it, and he's doing the Canadian thing of like, hey, there's a special present inside, there's a special little prize. But doesn't that in some ways just kind of cry out of like, I get all these great big presents for Christmas, and the Jewish like little boys get these little tiny prizes and little tiny things, and they're trying to celebrate this day that's not something that they celebrate.
So I'm
Like,
trying to. I want to jump on.
I want to go back and I want to erase that because it sounds kind of racist there for a second, but it sounds like I get the feeling like Jimmy is being happy. But I get the feeling like he's got this.
Maybe Jimmy's the
How do we
scapegoat.
know a family
Jimmy's-
that's poor?
Wait, I want to ask
like
you
a family
this.
that's
I want to ask you
poor.
this. How do we know Jimmy is Jewish? The only thing that differentiates him is his line has an "and" in front of him.
Well, we don't. We don't know that. But I'm just taking like Stephen is Jewish,
Right.
and it could be like a person from another religion, any religion. I just thinking like Stephen is Jewish, and like maybe that. But I don't get the feeling that the person that's celebrating this is part of Christmas. Like, there's no buy-in from that person and no expression about them and how they're doing with Christmas. It's all about everything that they're seeing around them.
I don't know. I'm usually the first one to jump on board with a depressing interpretation of a Christmas song, but I don't know. This feels very impressionistic to me. Like we talked about the haiku before. when I look at when I hear this, it just summons up a Rockwell painting to me, and that's all I'm seeing. And maybe I just don't want to leave that position, but
right, snow, or who is the road less traveled? It's almost like snow
Robert
falling on
Frost.
cedars. Yeah, Robert Frost. It's like a Robert Frost poem from an observed point of view.
And maybe it is.
I don't necessarily feel the sadness of this song. Usually I'm in agreement with you on these things, Tracy, but this one I don't necessarily feel where you're coming from. But I do think it's this interesting, like Mr. Johnson, Sally, and Jimmy. Like those are very like 1950s whitewashed.
oh yeah, It's
names.
a Wonderful Life.
Totally.
Jimmy Stewart. Well,
Right.
I will say this, Tracy, to back up your theory. I did know earlier that this is written in the key of C major, one of the most simple and the basic most. It's kind of the prime major. It's the Platonic major, right? However, it does borrow from C minor at certain points. So there are very specific times in the song, in the pre-chorus and chorus especially, working up to the oh yeah, where you're borrowing specific notes, not just passing tones, but sometimes borrowed subdominant harmonic elements from C minor. So I would say that overall, the song, yes, it's happy, it's in a happy key, but there are these little elements of sadness woven in there. So maybe there is something to that. I don't know. I can't say.
Maybe it's just me implementing and pasting in things from, like, as you mentioned, Vince Guaraldi. Like,
yeah.
If I'm being, and there are parts of the song that very much, like, I would say, tone into that idea and sound a lot like that. Probably like nice little, what do we call them? Just like nice little nods of the head to Vince Guaraldi. But those are the parts of Charlie Brown Christmas that are kind of bittersweet in feel. Like they're that slightly sad moments of Charlie Brown Christmas. And maybe that's what I'm pulling into that, is that memory of those sad moments of that show, and therefore it's kind of painting this for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally, now that you mentioned it, it wasn't something that I initially had in mind when I was listening to it, but I could totally see it. I think we need Kevin to come on.
It's interesting, though, because it's still a very enjoyable song for me.
Kevin,
like, it's still one that I want kind of playing in the background.
Hashtag settle the argument. Join the conversation. Kevin, we know you listen. Come on, we love you.
We definitely love you, Kevin. Although there is this kind of a sad line, and I can see the happy families inside, if only for a moment. So it's definitely somebody looking on from afar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's one of those songs that I think if we asked Kevin or Steven, tell us about this song, they would say, I really don't want to. Because I want you to read into
I want
it what you want
to
to
tell
read into
me
it.
about it. So that's why we started the podcast. We're telling them about this. This is
Well, yeah,
how we feel, Stephen.
Well, and Steven said when we were talking to him about the flag in that interview, like, there's some things that he wants us to. He brushes broad strokes, and I think Kevin does the same. So no matter who wrote this, like, it's a broad stroke to let you kind of put yourself into it and kind of read into it.
I mean, that's just a really smart way to do anything, whether it's writing a song or a novel or anything, because I think if you leave room for interpretation, people pour themselves into it, and it's going to resonate more with them. So
Totally.
Yeah, that could be what we're seeing here.
Yeah. And I know I went with the direction of a person that's non-religious or a different religion with this. But the other side of that would be also possibly families that are poor, and so Jimmy is kind of part of a family that's poor, and so and he's happy with that box of Frosted Flakes because he's like, you know what, it's something, it's great, and maybe that's kind of where that line's coming from too, or maybe there's a piece of culture there that I'm missing that I'm like, I never got cereal for breakfast. I never got cereal as a gift for Christmas.
I have to say, a nice big bowl of Frosted Flakes, slightly soggy,
washed down,
nothing,
yeah.
Oh,
with milk
nothing
from a
beats
bag.
it. Oh,
Nothing is
No, I
Canadian
misspoke.
as
I
that.
did get cereal for breakfast often. I didn't get it for Christmas, I meant. And I got it for breakfast on Christmas, just not as a Christmas present.
I was a kid in the 70s, so that's all we had. Sugar cereal and TV. That's all we had.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, even into the 80s and early to mid 90s, that was the case. And that was a special time to be alive.
And now we all have diabetes. Thank you.
ADHD and diabetes. Yeah.
But that's another episode.
That's another episode altogether.
I didn't know there was a diabetes song. I mean, well, we did talk. We have the connection here with the album that was sponsored for diabetes, right? So
Right, exactly.
That's a
Bringing it
whole
back
other
full
podcast.
circle.
How the baby boomers failed all of us. Love Gen X.
it's like the one thing that
Oops.
Gen X, the millennials, and Gen Z can agree on is
The
F the
the
baby
ba-
boomers.
F the baby boomers.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not even sorry a little bit. Whoops. It's Christmas Day. I apologize.
Yeah, for shame.
Such a happy topic on Christmas Day.
You know what you should do? Instead of the usual Yoko over the swear, put like little jingle bells.
There we go.
Make it extra festive.
I do love this song though. Sad or no sad, it's beautiful to listen to.
Honestly, maybe that's why I like it so much. I said I like depressing music. Like maybe even if I wasn't perceiving it to be, I just knew in the back of my head somewhere, like, oh, this is appealing to me.
Right. It takes the edge off the glaring joy of the holiday.
Maybe,
Like, it just,
That's right.
honestly, okay, so not to get too far down a rabbit hole here, but we've talked a little bit before about like how we interpret things and why things mean things to us or resonate with us. And so let me know if you guys have had this experience, because I remember it was like, I want to say it was All Star by Smash Mouth. Was very, I mean, obviously now it's popular in sort of a post-ironic way, but back when it first came out, it was like you couldn't escape it. That
it
song
was on the
everywhere.
radio every
And-
5 minutes.
And I had somebody talk about how they loved that song, and I just kind of like rolled my eyes and they're like, "What, you don't like that song?" And I was like, "Nobody is that happy." I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I was a millionaire rock star, I probably would be that happy. So I could be wrong, but you know.
That's funny.
Sorry, I'm looking something up.
Tracy's trying
That's
to
fine.
reconstruct his notes. The FBI is looking through his hard drive.
We have the
Maybe that's what
technology.
did it.
Just call
We
it.
can
yeah.
rebuild them.
Have you been Skyping Edward Snowden again?
Often.
Now
Often.
you're on the list, by the way. Welcome
Dear
to the list.
Dear Edward Snowden, if you want to come on the
Oh my
podcast,
God,
we'll
please,
have you.
Please. Okay, perhaps almost more than anyone else. Edward, we know you're a big fan. Come on the show.
Because we know he's getting this message. He is totally getting this message.
Well, definitely the people who are after him are.
Yeah, that's
NSA.
true. Okay.
NSA, we're a big fan. Come on the show.
That's right. We will give you a half-hour time slot to say whatever you want to say. We will. What the
Hey
heck?
everybody, my name is Scott Schiaffo, actor best
My
known as the
computer
Cheers
is
Gun-
going weird on me.
Tracy's looking at porn again.
Since it's Christmas Day, we should do this shout out. Santa, if you want to come on the podcast, we'd love to have
Santa,
you.
we know you listen. We would love to have you on the podcast.
And
Or
Mrs.
Buddy.
Claus.
We'll accept Buddy.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Mrs. Claus.
Mrs.
I would
Claus.
like to listen.
You know
Mrs.
what?
Claus.
Nobody ever interviews Mrs. Claus. I don't know how many
She's
people
a
interview
friggin'
Santa,
saint.
but no,
In this day of
She
I would
puts
love
up with
it.
his bullshit all year long.
I'm sure that
and
Mrs. Claus has a lot of
gets no
inside info
credit.
to give us about what goes down in the workshop for real. She's got the real
Big
stories.
time.
I want to hear from
You
Mrs.
know
Claus.
she's the one making it all happen.
Oh yeah, I mean Santa works one night a year. You know what I mean?
He's the figurehead.
He's playing
She makes
Fortnite
it all
the rest
happen.
of the time. I bet you.
She probably cooks for all the elves. She
I bet you
keeps their
Santa's
morale up.
Santa Claus is ninja. He's like the best Fortnite player.
He has nothing else to do all year long.
He's just playing
and that's
Fortnite.
how he knows who's naughty and who's
Yeah,
nice.
because he hears these kids swearing at each other on chat when they're
They totally
fighting each other.
swear. It's awful.
Yeah, they say horrible things to each other. They make us look like innocent saints.
Yes, indeed.
So speaking of Santa, in this wonderful song. I want to know, have you ever heard a Christmas carol that goes, oh yeah?
No.
It was the Macho Man Randy Savage singing Silent Night.
Okay, that would be it. Somehow I don't think it was a nice happy caroler singing it.
No, but that's
I don't know where
another,
that lyric comes from.
Another good point that maybe that relates to your song, because like everyone who is celebrating Christmas is super excited and happy, like, oh yeah, it's Christmas time, you know. So maybe little Jimmy.
Maybe Jimmy is Jim McMahon from WWF, and he was naughty, and so that's why he only gets a box of cereal.
I thought it was Jimmy Page because Steven didn't want to say Steven, so same last name.
Oh, see, nice.
Or it could be Jim from the band. But he would get a new instrument. Like his family would get him a new electric bass or something. Like they'd get him something interesting.
I was talking to Justin about this last night because I was like, I want to know if there's something I'm missing here. Maybe there's some background I'm missing with this. And his statement was, you know, maybe it's kind of an ironic kind of look at all the different Christmas carols that start with O. So you like, oh, come all you faithful, oh, holy night, oh, little town of Bethlehem. Like maybe that's their kind of little way of making an ironic statement about all those Christmas carols that start like that, which isn't a bad way of saying that. It could be a nice little ribbing joke done by Steven or Kevin. I could see them doing something like that.
I would like it to be a nod to Randy Savage.
Not to Randy Savage.
We can only
That's
hope.
what I
mean,
want.
The guy did,
That's what I'm
BNL is
say.
a big
the guy
wrestling
did
fan.
stop the rapture for us. He went to heaven so that we could stay behind.
He did. God bless him.
I want to see Ed go up against The Rock now. Or Tyler. I want to see Tyler go up
Dwayne.
against
Tyler.
The Rock.
Dwayne, we love you. We know you watch the show. Please come on. Hey, let's play Dungeons and Dragons sometime. No, wait. Does The Rock play D&D? I know Vin Diesel does, and a couple other people. Like, there's like a couple wrestlers and big like jack dudes who you wouldn't think they play D&D.
I want
If
The
he
Rock to
doesn't-
come on and do some life coaching.
Yeah,
I want him to do life coaching for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
You know what?
Oh,
man,
yes,
The Rock would be great as a
for
gym
me
buddy.
was implied. Like I want him to,
I want The Rock to be my personal trainer and just yell at me while I lift weights to try and inspire me.
but he wouldn't yell at you.
He'd be pretty nice about it. You're right.
He'd give you a hug and tell you to keep going, buddy. You can do it.
He seems like such a nice guy. He really does.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Maybe
Dwayne,
he'd bring
come on
Kevin
the show.
Hart on with him.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, nice little dig from a couple weeks ago.
Someday,
there.
one celebrity that we call out will actually be listening, and they will get such a kick out of it that they will tweet us, and we'll get them on the show. So we'll just cast a
That would
wide
be
net.
wonderful.
Cast a wide net.
Exactly.
You know who I'd love to get on the show?
Sir Patrick
Jack
Stewart.
Black.
Oh, Jack
well,
Black
yes.
Black
would
would
be
be
amazing.
amazing.
Sir Patrick Stewart, 100%. Ian McKellen, while we're at it, let's get the two of
In a
them
minute.
together.
You know
In
what?
a minute.
This is, okay, I was gonna say we should stop, but it is a Christmas episode, so maybe this is our Christmas wish list.
These are our Christmas
That's right.
wishes.
I want Michael. Oh my God! Now it's out my head. Flipping A. Lex
Stipe.
Luthor. God
Blackleaf.
damn.
Oh, Michael
Rosenberg.
Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum.
He's
I
fantastic.
just started listening. I would love that. I just started listening to his podcast. He's great.
He has a podcast.
I know. He had Karen
He
Gilliam
does. It's
on it.
called Inside of You. And he has a nice voice. I know.
He has a really good sense of
He was
humor
the best
too.
part
He
of
does.
Smallville. He was fantastic in Pool
by a
Hall
long shot.
Junkies. I love
He's
seeing him in It's Always
fun.
Sunny in Philadelphia. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, good.
He just had surgery on his neck, but he seems to be
did?
doing
Well, we
okay.
hope you're okay,
Yeah.
Michael. We know you listen. Come on the show.
Come on the show. Did you guys ever see the Graham Norton show? Do you ever watch
Yes,
that?
I
Yes.
remember Graham Norton. Yeah.
There was an episode where Ian McKellen was on, and I think Sir Patrick Stewart was on, and Hugh Jackman was on, and
Wow.
Ian McKellen was
X-Men episode.
flirting so much with Hugh Jackman. It was great. It was so great to see. So I want Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen to come on and relive that because it was so good. And Hugh Jackman just sort of like went with it. It was great.
Oh, I'm sure he did. He's got a great sense of humor too.
I'd be happy with anyone involved with X-Men, really. Please come on the show.
If you don't have an ego and you understand yourself and have a little bit of self-loathing, we want you on the show.
I want you on the show regardless. I don't care.
That's right. So speaking of the show, why don't we get back on topic a little bit?
Totally off the rails here.
Why don't we go back to, as I'm reviewing my notes, Christmastime, Oh Yeah, was actually written by Kevin. I have it on authority there. It was written by Kevin while he was still with the Look People.
I called it.
It also was the first song that Kevin recorded with Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, wow. I mean,
and it was his first. And it was his first track that was released with Bare Naked Ladies. So my guess is this, because I can't find a lot more information about this. My guess is that he's the one playing keys behind Steven when Steven does when he's the lead on it. And that's why we have Steven taking the lead on the song, but it's written by Kevin because it was done so much earlier when he was still with another band.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Why don't we do some ratings?
Yeah,
that would be great. So, in honor of Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, our rating this week is Jugs.
So sexist.
I'm thinking of Jugs.
I thought you were better than that.
I didn't mean it like that. As a female of the cast, I meant it as
I'm being ridiculous.
You're being ridiculous. I could change it to Emmett Otters if we wanted to. No, let's keep it a joke. So anyway, in whatever we are doing, I give the song a 4. I give the song a solid 4. I love it. I'd listen to it if it was on Christmas or no.
Very respectable.
So that's Aaron, how about you?
I'm so close. I give it a 3.85 jugs. I gotta compare this to other songs. Like it's so close to being a 4. I think I put it just underneath like Ballad of Gordon, Break Your Heart, that kind of stuff. Those are 3.9. So 3.85, very, very, very respectable.
That's a decent score.
I
for
agree
sure.
with you, Michelle, in that I would totally listen to this outside of Christmastime. It's just a good all-around
big time.
song.
Yeah, Tracy.
All right. Well, so my computer is being like it's being today. Can you tell me what I gave Christmas Picks?
Yes,
let
me get there.
Christmas Picks 3.25.
Okay. I am going to give this a 3.25 as well.
Whoa,
I put it right there equal
seriously?
with Christmas Picks. I like this.
I wish you guys
it's
could
not
see
like
Michelle's face because she looks just like I feel right now.
My jaw is on the floor. What's going on with
like a
Tracy these
nutcracker.
last couple of weeks? He's like,
been
my
drinking the
scores are
Haterade.
high. His scores are low. I don't understand what's
Too much
happening.
haterade in that eggnog.
3.25 is a respectable number.
It is, but I think this song is
Get
better
the
than
Christmas
3.25.
spirit, Tracy. Come on.
This is one of those songs off the album that, once again, I would totally like in the background at, during Christmas morning, opening
definitely.
presents, or at a Christmas party, listening to it in the mall, like I had said with Christmas Picks. However, it's not one I want to listen to in the car while I'm driving. It's not one that, is cheery and happy and puts me in the Christmas spirit in terms of all of that stuff. There are other songs on here that have more of that flavor and that pizzazz for me. There are also a lot of songs on this album that you will find that my numbers are going to be much lower than this on. This is one of those albums that are hot and cold for me, and this is a lukewarm song. Actually, a little bit above lukewarm. I do like this song. It's just not like, woohoo, let's listen to that song.
Room temperature. Well, right now, this song has a 3.7, and it is now between Adrift and Allergies.
That's
Which
not bad.
that seems
I will
Okay.
say this,
Oh,
Michelle, to be as fair as possible to Tracy, you rated Christmas Picks a 4, so you also rated this at the same level as Christmas Picks. So even though you both disagreed, you both agreed you liked it as much. I'm the only one who went up. I did not like Christmas Picks as much. I prefer this tune.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a great point, Aaron. Tracy and I had the same methodology, but we just were on different scales. Yeah. And you totally changed up.
I think
that's
it was
kind of cool.
The Garaldi-like piano and the harmonies that did it for me. I really love that really elevated the song for me.
Nice.
There's some really important things to kind of notice about this time of year. I want to celebrate Christmas, but I also want to celebrate some important things that happened around Christmas. One of the things that happened around Christmas was this was the mid-year break during that first tour that B&L had. And they came back to Toronto after touring. I want to say it was the East Coast of Canada. I could be wrong. It might have been the West. They were going to switch off and go to the other direction. But they had like a couple of weeks break. And Ed and Steve, this is while they were touring with Corky and the Juice Pigs. And during this break, they came back to Toronto and they started just kind of doing their own gigs in Toronto. And I'm trying to remember off the top. I had it written down, and of course now I can't pull it up.
It's okay. I like this off the cuff version.
Oh, thank you. It was I want to say it was in the Horseshoe. I could be wrong. The Horseshoe Tavern, and they got up on stage. They were playing, and they decided to call Jim and Andy up on stage with them, which was the first time that all four of them played together. Wow. Was during the Christmas break during that first tour.
It was a
Christmas
Christmas
miracle. This is a very
miracle.
special time of year and a Christmas miracle in a lot of ways. I want to say it was actually just before Christmas. It was like the day before Christmas or something like that. And in the future, I have the track listing of all the songs that they did play that night. Jim and Andy didn't know the songs; they just went along with them, and were having a great time up on stage playing with them. So,
they're both so incredibly talented. I can see them just being able to step in and just go with it and make it sound amazing.
Exactly.
Those Creeggan boys, they know what they're doing.
So I'm also going to post, once I find it again, there is a live version of Kevin singing this just after Steven has left the band with Ed playing, which is kind of interesting to listen to because it's a little bit different without Steven there. But the other appearance, it's Christmas Day. I'm feeling like I'm giving today.
Okay.
There is a rare recording out there. I sent it to you guys this week. I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to it.
Yes, 100%.
Extremely
one of my favorite little finds.
I insist that anyone listening to this podcast must listen to this very special link that Tracy posts because it's priceless.
'Twas the night before Christmas on Pearl Street. All the people were sleeping cause the people were beat. The snow had been falling for most of the day, and it laid over everything, sooty and gray.
The little the moment with Steve.
Now there's only one guy who flies Christmas night, and I knew that fat guy was Steve Page. Santa Claus, right?
I died.
It's so perfect.
And you could tell that Steven's on stage with him.
Oh, yes.
His statement of like, Steven, you can kick my ass after the show was just amazing. It was a one-time only. It's the only time I've ever found that they've recorded or played this on stage. But Tyler doing a very soft jazz version. Well, not version, but his song he must have written called "Twas the Night Before Christmas" on Pearl Street. Tells a nice little story of how he has an interaction with Santa Claus. I don't know. I wish I was able to look it up right now and tell you. I don't know who was doing the drums. It wasn't Tyler.
Oh, really?
He actually calls it out and says, let's give it to the person on the drums. My guess it was either Ed or Andy.
I figured
So-
he was making a joke because I heard a little laughter after that when he did the solo, but I'm not sure.
No, it was because
That's why I wish it was a video. I'd love to see that.
Because Tyler never sings and does the drums usually at the same time. The only time he's ever done that
not
live
Phil
that
Collins.
I've seen.
I've tried that, by the way. That's extremely hard. And really, really
Yeah.
quickly, I want to shout out to a band that I love, Jellyfish. The lead singer was also the drummer, and he was not, with respect to Phil Collins, because I know how difficult that is, the stuff Phil Collins does while singing is a lot more simplistic. He does crazy beats that would be hard enough on their own, and then also sings masterfully on top of it. It's ridiculous. But anyways, please
That's
continue.
nuts.
I love this version of Tyler's song. I got such a visual, like a film noir.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got
back
that feel
alley,
to it,
black and
definitely.
white. You know,
smoky.
like he's in the back alley under the street lamp smoking a cigarette, and then runs into Santa.
Yeah, it's
and
got a
it's this
very
whole
beat
thing.
poetry. feel
Wicked.
to it. Yeah. Like a beatnik
Yes.
Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I like
loved
it.
it.
Yeah,
Bongos and
it's a
goatees
lot of
all
fun.
around.
Wicked. Black turtleneck. Get your
Yeah.
black turtleneck.
Sunglasses inside.
Yeah.
So I want to give a shout out to our new network, Filling the Void Network.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay. We're glad to be a part
Please.
of Filling the Void.
Yes, please go listen to some other podcasts that's on there. One of the other podcasts that I think Aaron would love to listen to, I listened to a couple of their shows this week, is called Hit Points Gaming,
That sounds
where
like
they
right up my
talk.
alley.
It sounds right up your alley. They talk about board games and video games, and they just kind of sit there and discuss. The one that I listened to earlier this week is Why Are Gamers Afraid to Die in Games? Very interesting discussion that they had on there, and I have
question.
to agree. You know, it definitely goes back to what you were kind of saying and what you've said
Because
many
we
a time.
project
on
ourselves onto the game play of the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and there was a thing back then, like when you died, there was no save spots. Like,
Oh yeah, it
you had
used to be
start
way
from
more
zero.
brutal. These days, it's usually you don't get penalized or punished much as much. But I think a lot of us old school gamers, especially, still retain that like visceral reaction. We're like, no, we can't die. There are some newer games like Bloodborne which will punish you, but anyways,
Exactly. But it just kind of brought to mind over and over again for me, you know, it's, how can I say this? And I die, and I die, and I die, and I have to laugh or then I'll start to cry. And now I start to cry. How's first? Oh yeah. Before all the fireballs exploded, I had so much equipment and experience growing. Now what can I say? But would you like to play a game today? And that reminds me, next week we'll be discussing Conventioneers.
That was very nice, Tracy.
Thank you.
I have to say, that was... I can't wait for Conventioneers. I'm just going to give a sneak peek. It's one of my favorites.
This is one of those ones that you have been looking forward to for quite a while.
I've heard you mention
For like
this.
for 2 years, I've been looking forward to doing
Yeah,
this song.
I have not cheated. I've not cheated. I have not listened to it. I've heard you guys mention it. I'm
You've
waiting
got to
for
read
it.
the lyrics too,
Yeah,
Aaron.
of
You've got to hook into the lyrics and listen to the song and be swept away by the experience, because that's the beauty of the song.
And you get to hear Steven sing it much better than I just did.
Although that was very nice. You did a nice version.
Thank you.
But and it's a total Steven song. Total
Oh, yes.
100%. There it is in black and white.
I have not cheated and looked ahead yet to see who wrote it, but if it's not Steven, I'm going to be just... My jaw's going to hit the floor.
I would be shocked because it's all part of his process, let's say.
Oh, definitely. And it's interesting. Like, I was sitting there and I was thinking, like, I want to go back and see if there are themes to each of them and what they're writing, and, you know, later on as we go through this podcast. But I seem to feel, and I think that one of the themes that we're going to come back to, we can discuss more next week, is I think actually next week we're not going to discuss Conventioneers because we're going to do our New Year's Eve resolutions and looking at our scores for the year and seeing if there's anything that we feel regretful about and changing those up. And then we'll be hitting convention
Regrets.
years the week after.
Get prepared
I've
for
had
a
a
long
few.
episode, folks.
Yes.
But I get the feeling for Steven, and it came in the interview, that it's not the bad boyfriend narrator. It's I'm looking around at all these people around me and shining a light on society. And I want people to see how they are in relationships. I want people to realize how they are in relationships. And I think that's kind of his theme that he keeps coming back to, is not so much like I'm a bad person and I'm a bad person in relationships, but we as people in general are. So it'll be interesting to kind of discuss that more next week.
Most definitely.
Interesting.
So have a great week. Have a happy Christmas.
Yes.
And a happy new year.
Happy Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
War is over.
Happy
Peace
Hanukkah
and love.
belatedly, or Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Whatever you celebrate, sincerely, I hope it was a great one or is a great one. And
Yes.
Happy
Kwanzaa is
Tuesday.
yeah.
Boxing Day. Happy
Tuesday.
Boxing Day.
Happy Boxing Day. That's true too.
That's not where you sit there and have a fist fight. That's different.
No, but that reminds me. I've watched Die Hard on Christmas. I need to start watching Rocky on Boxing Day.
Oh, that's a good tradition. I
think
like
so.
it.
I mean, they don't they? Isn't like Christmas mentioned? Like they're talking about a turkey or something, right? Or maybe it's Thanksgiving. I feel like it's around Christmas time. I think it's actually like
It might
winter
be.
in Philadelphia in that movie.
It looks cold,
Yeah,
so
he's always
it's
in
got to be
he's
around
always
the
in
holidays.
gym sweats and stuff. Like, I just gotta run to get my temperature up now. But Merry Christmas.
Speaking of getting to the gym, I should probably get to the gym.
I actually need to do that too. So hey.
So have a good night, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week.
Merry Christmas. See you next
Yay!
week.
Merry Christmas and all that jazz.
All that Vince Guaraldi jazz.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.